Hey guys, Miss Tate here. We are introducing a brand new TEK. We are starting a brand new unit. So we are starting our unit on geometry. So geometry is like the study of different shapes and angles and that sort of thing. So that's what we're starting today. So here is our new TEK that we're going to take a look at today. So our TEK is 4.6a, and it says we should be able to identify points, lines, line segments, rays, angles, and perpendicular and parallel lines. So identify just means that we need to be able to point out which thing is which. So just, hey, that's a point, or that's a line segment. Just identifying is being able to say, hey, I know what that is. So we're going to have to identify a bunch of different things. What a point is, line segment, ray, angle, and perpendicular and parallel lines. Today we're only going to focus on the front half of this. So today we're going to do points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. We will get to perpendicular and parallel lines later this week, but we will not be covering those things today. So we're going to learn what all of these definitions are. So if you will go ahead and grab your math journal, we're going to write down some of these notes together. So make sure you have something to write with. If you don't have a math journal, grab a sheet of paper. You're going to want to keep these notes where you can use them because they're going to help you on your assignment today. All right, so let's take a look. I have my journal set up ready to go. Let's take a look here. So we're going to focus and learn what different lines and angles are. So all those vocabulary words from the TEK, we're about to write them down and learn exactly what they are. So we should be able to identify a couple of different things. The first thing that the TEK said we should be able to identify is a point. So let's write what a point is. A point is just like a single spot on like a graph or something. So like this point right here, that's a point. And they'll be labeled a lot of the times with a letter or a number. So like this is point M, this dot right here, that's point M. Sometimes you'll see it on like a line, you'll have a point and be like, okay, this is a point. Let's say this is point Z, right? That's a point on a line. So a point is just a single spot. Go ahead and get that written down. You're going to need these notes later to help you out, I promise. So go ahead and write down as we're moving along. The second thing the TEK said is a line. A line looks like this. You'll notice it has arrows on both sides because a line keeps going in both directions. So write that down. A line keeps going in both directions. That means it could keep going this way and it could keep going this way. That's why it's going to have arrows. A line will have arrows on both sides. It will go on forever in this way and it will go on forever this way. Now that's different than a line segment. So a line segment looks like this. You'll notice it has a point on one end and an arrow on the other end. Oh, sorry, that's a ray. My bad. I made a mistake. Sorry. A line segment, excuse me, will have a point on each side. A line segment has a point on each side. It cannot get bigger. Can't get bigger this way, can't get bigger this way. It's a section of line. And it cannot get any larger. It would be like if I took a piece of this line out, if I pulled a segment of it out of the line and I made a line segment. So line segments have points on each end. They can't grow. They're just that long. This is a line segment. It has points on each end. It does not continue in this direction or the other direction. Excuse me, the one I made a mistake on is called array. Array has a point on one end and an arrow on the other end because it can't continue this way, but array will keep going in this direction, whichever direction the arrow is facing. So array grows in one direction. Get it? One direction. Right? It will go on in just one direction. So I mean, like, this is array. It's gonna keep going forever that way. This is array. It would keep coming forever this way, but it cannot grow past the point. So those are our four types of line. So we have a point, which is just a spot. A line keeps going in both directions. A line segment has points on the ends, and it cannot grow any longer. And then array has a point on one end and an arrow on the other. It keeps going. Those are our four different types of lines. Now our teak, if we look at it, let's see what we've covered so far. So we identified a point, we did lines, we did line segments, and we did rays. The last thing we're going to identify today are the three different types of angles. Now you probably studied a little bit the three types of angles in third grade, so let's review just real quickly the three different types of angles. So it says, excuse me, when two rays come together, so I could have two rays. Notice, like, here's a point where they meet, a line going on forever this way and a line going forever this way. So I have two rays. This is an angle. This type of angle looks different. Then we have different types of angles. So we're going to study three main types. This type, I'll show you the names of these here in a minute. And this type. So this one probably looks familiar to you, or it should, from third grade. Think about, what is this type of angle? This one is called a right angle. These angles are special because these angles are always, always, always 90 degrees. Now later this week, we're going to learn about what degrees are and how to measure degrees and that sort of thing. But basically it's between this and this line. You can measure it and it would be 90 degrees. Now that's different than temperature outside, right? We're going to learn about degrees and how you can measure it, talking about angles and not temperature. This one, you'll notice this angle is smaller than any of the others. So this one is really big. This one makes a perfect square. This one is smaller than all the other ones. This one is called an acute angle. I remember the name of it because it's small and you're like, oh, it's a cute little angle, right? Because it's so tiny and so cute. It's a cute little angle. So this is called an acute angle. Acute angles are always less than 90 degrees. And then our third type of angle is this big one. So you'll notice this space right between the two rays is more than our 90 degrees. So this is always more than 90 degrees. And the vocabulary word for this type of angle is called an obtuse angle. It's kind of a fun word. An obtuse angle. They're the big angles that are always more than 90 degrees. So we have covered everything from our teak here. So we have points, lines, line segments, rays, and angles. Later this week, we'll talk about perpendicular and parallel lines. So we have, let's review real quick before we move on. A point is a single spot. A line has arrows on both sides, keeps going in both directions. A line segment has a point on each end. It cannot get bigger. It is just a section of line. It will not grow. A ray has a point on one end and an arrow on the other. It will keep going in one direction. And then our three types of angles. Acute is less than 90 degrees. A right angle is always exactly 90 degrees. And an obtuse angle is always more than 90 degrees. So we're going to use that information to help us with some activities today.